going YouTube? This is your girl Arielle Simone, and I am back with another video. If you read the title of this video, then yes, we are talking about coronavirus, known as COVID-19, and my experience when I had COVID-19. So just stay tuned. Oh, the first thing I wanted to mention is this pillow is from a Black-owned business called Sunday Breakfast. So that's what the S&B stands for. Basically, they do a whole bunch of home goods and everything. So if you want to get someone a gift, or if you just love pillows and other home goods, check them out. As well as this nice cute teddy outfit that I got. It's a two-piece. I got this from a Black-owned business up in New York. I have to go find their name because I kind of forgot, so I'll link it in the description below. But super cute, super affordable. Support Black-owned businesses. So let's hop into the video. So I am one of the people that recently, or not even recently, but I've caught COVID-19 during this year. And of course, I was one of the people that was like, no, it could never be me. It wouldn't be me. I stay masked up, gloved up, sanitized up, you know, all those good things that you're supposed to be doing, social distance and staying home and everything like that. So I literally thought I was doing all the right things. And of course, throughout this year, we have learned so much about ourselves. Mentally, I have learned so much about myself. Emotionally, physically, I have been just learning so much more about Arielle and what makes me tick. Okay, so I also know that I definitely know like the exact day, the exact time, like exact place where I was when I caught coronavirus. One of the reasons that I know that is because I was with my friends when I caught it. So I'm not gonna sit here and say, oh, I was doing every single thing correct, because no, I wasn't. This year has been a year. It has been so crazy, and sometimes you just have to do some things for yourself, and you have to know that, hey, this isn't what I'm supposed to be doing, but this is something that I'm doing for my health and my sanity. So I was out and about when I caught coronavirus, and it was just so crazy because in the back of my mind, when I thought about it, and you know, the months prior to, I was just like, man, I would probably be someone that would be asymptomatic. I would just never know. So, you know, like, it's just so crazy just to think the things that you think, and then when it really happens to you, just the things that go on. So I can give you exact dates. So October 30th was the day that I contracted coronavirus. I didn't start experiencing things until 3 days later, so 72 hours later is when I started experiencing my first symptoms. And it was so crazy because, as you guys know, or if you don't know, I act and model. So I have been COVID tested at least like 12 to 15 times during the time that, you know, everything has been going on. So from March to now, we're in December, I have been COVID tested at least 12 to 15 times. So every single time I've gotten it, it came up negative. And so I have been on set, I have been working and in my career field and everything. And this one particular set I was on, they tested us 3 different times. So they tested us on a Thursday, a Sunday, and then a Wednesday. So that Thursday and that Sunday tested, results came back negative. Cool, go to set, do what you gotta do. So I was. And the same day that I started experiencing my symptoms was also the same day that I came on my cycle. So with that being said, women, ladies, you already know that's a doozy in itself. But when I am on my cycle, I am very tired, and I just was like, all right, whatever. And then being that I was also on set, and again, socially distanced, wearing masks, gloves, sanitizer, like we were doing all the things, everything on set, they were following the COVID-19 guidelines to actually have set open. So we were doing all those good things. But yeah, on this particular day, I was starting to feel a little tired. But I had been on set for, I want to say like 15 hours or something. Didn't get enough rest the day before. So I was just like, man, my cycle was like doing the most. So that was that Monday. That Tuesday, I was like, the same things. I was a little tired. But of course, hey, I've been on set for forever and a day now. And that's just what it does to you. Was still feeling fine. I think that may have been the day when I started getting like, I didn't have a runny nose, but I had like a drip, which is, it was kind of weird. And I was just like, man, you know what, the seasons are changing. I probably haven't been wearing enough clothes, because out here in LA, it can be 80 degrees one day and then 60 the next day. So you really don't know how to dress. But I was just like, man, maybe the seasons are changing. Maybe, you know, I'm starting to get a little bit of something. Now, mind you, haven't been sick this whole entire year, which is crazy because I normally get sick at least once a year. Besides acting and modeling, I also work in the school system around kids, and I work at different schools. So a lot of times I will get sick just because, you know, kids. But this particular Tuesday, I got this little, you know, drip in my nose, and I was probably having like a little dry cough, but I was like, you know, there's nothing important. So Wednesday comes, and I'm like, yo, I need to take this COVID test, because I just want to make sure, because all of my tests, again, so far have come up negative. And in my mind, I'm just like, I just want to be sure, but also I just want to make sure I'm just sick. You know, it's nothing big. Tested me. I think we did a regular COVID test and then a PCR rapid test. Now, don't quote me because I might be saying those wrong, but I took one test and then I took another test that was a rapid test. So rapid is going to give you results in 15 minutes. And that is when I found out that I had coronavirus. And I was like, wow. So I told my friends, like, hey, y'all need to get tested, just make sure, because I did test only because I was working and I found out that I do have this. Hadn't been around people. It was literally in the morning. They test everyone before they even get to go onto set, and then, you know, all of that good stuff. So at this time, I'm kind of sort of like really calm, which was different because, you know, you see on the news and in social media, like, coronavirus this, coronavirus that, people are dying left and right, and people are experiencing these horrible symptoms, and yet I'm not feeling all of that. I literally just had, you know, a runny nose. I had a little slight cough, and I was kind of tired. And so I went home, of course, and I have two roommates, and I was like, dang, I gotta tell my roommate, because, you know, we shared a kitchen and we shared a living room, and I was just like, you know, I had to let her know. So that was probably the first person that I told, and, you know, she was fine. She was like, dang, all right, you know, well, you know, come home. Because I was like literally in my car, and I was like, I'm gonna have to tell my roommate, and then I'm gonna have to tell my parents at some point, because all of the stigma that comes around this virus is so like, oh my goodness, if you get it, you're gonna die. And in all of these things, like, mind you, you gotta look up statistics for yourself, but most people, I guess, do not die. So just look up the statistics for yourself. I don't have the numbers or anything, but most people, they fight through it. If you have underlying symptoms, or if you're older, I think that's when you have more complications. But I'm in my 20s. I don't want to, y'all, you know, woman never tells her age, but I'm in my 20s. I work out a lot. I don't eat pork and beef. You know, I'm just kind of healthy. So I didn't really have any type of bad, you know, underlying issues or anything. But still, I was like, wow, I have to tell people that are close to me, because if anything did happen, they need to know. So in this time, I told my roommate, and I was like, dang, I'm gonna have to like figure out where I'm gonna stay. And she was like, why would you do that? Just come home, stay in your room. I have a room with a bathroom attached. So I was like, literally the only things I'll need to do is like eat. So that was a thing. So we're on day, 3 of me having this thing. And again, I COVID tested on that Sunday. So it should have came up positive then, and it came up negative. So when you're out here COVID testing, and let's say you do have coronavirus, you can have a false negative test, because it's not really, it's not finding it in your system yet. So that is what you do have to know. With me, again, we're on day 3 now, so I'm just locked in my room. I'm bored. And honestly, that's probably the biggest thing with this virus, is that you are alone. You're literally alone. And I honestly feel for people in hospitals and everything, because I was at home alone, but to be somewhere where it's not home, where you're not with people that love you, your friends, your family, it sucks. Whew, okay, I said I wasn't gonna cry. But that is also the point. I think I was about 3 to 5 days in when I actually told my parents, and it sucked having to tell my parents because one, I had a mild case of coronavirus, thank God, but I didn't know if anything was going to change, like sporadically, if I was going to start having trouble breathing, if something was going to happen where I had to go to the hospital. And I'm originally from Michigan, so my parents are in Michigan, and you know, when you have this virus, no one can really come. So even if they were to fly out to LA, it's like, what can you do? And it was just so hard because I was like, well, I have this, I'm doing fine. You know, I had to just like reinforce that I'm okay. I'm okay. Even if I wasn't okay, like even if I did have more like problems, I think I just would have been like, I'm okay, just to, I don't know, ease their minds or something, which I don't know if that's like good or bad. But yeah, I was fine though. I literally was. I think on day probably around 6 or 7 is when I lost my taste. And if anybody knows me, I love to cook and I love to eat. So I was like, I don't think I can taste what I'm eating. And that was horrifying because it literally was just like, if I had something hot, I tasted hot. Or if I had something cold, I tasted cold. Like I didn't taste anything. It was very, very weird. I don't know. That was weird. That was something that did come up a little bit later. But I think those are all my symptoms. So I had a drip of a nose, I had a dry cough, a fatigue a bit, and then I lost my taste. So that was about 5 to 7 days in, and I had been getting calls from, you know, different places and different people, because once they send your corona test in and it is positive, then now I believe, like, you know, there's healthcare teams and stuff that'll call and they'll make sure you're okay. They'll ask you what your symptoms are. They'll try to, you know, track down where you got it, if anyone else is infected or not, and all those type of things. So I was getting these calls left and right, and I'm like, oh my goodness, I'm fine. I'm fine. Like I would call people. I don't even think I sounded too different. Even like when I was on FaceTime with my friends and family, like unless they knew, you wouldn't tell. You couldn't tell. I think my eyes were a bit redder than normal. But honestly, I was just like, I looked pretty normal. And I was acting normal. I was still working out in my room. I was, you know, eating regular foods. I was sleeping, you know, just doing the regular things. I was in class on Zoom, so I was still doing my Zoom class, and I just was going through it, So I went through it. I did my, it was, I think you're supposed to do 10 days and 14 days. So, I mean, you're quarantined for 14 days, but I believe after about 10 to 14 days, you aren't contagious anymore. So your first 10 to 14 days, that's your, you know, period where you could be contagious. You can give it to someone else. So those are your incubator times. You're definitely supposed to be incubated those times. When I'm telling you, it took so long. It took so long to get to 14 days. I was like, I just want fresh air. I just want to go, like, I just want it. But yeah, I think it was probably day 13. I'm probably getting my days a little mixed up, but day 13 was like when I started getting my taste back. And when I tell you that was the best feeling ever, I was like, oh my goodness, I can taste, I'm better. So day 14 came, and that was my wash day. I literally cleaned from the top to the bottom, from the baseboards to literally everything. I washed all my clothes, washed my sheets. Cool, my food is done. BRB. And we're back. Okay, so as I was saying, I washed everything. I went and washed my clothes. I washed anything I touched. I was bleaching down everything in my bathroom. And then I also had to go grocery shopping because I literally had no food. I was probably eating out. Like, I would ask my roommate, like, what you doing today? You going somewhere? Can you give me some food? Thanks. So, and then doing all of that. So definitely just wash everything, make sure everything was clean, and cleanliness is next to godliness, of course. And that was pretty much, oh, I will say that I didn't have a problem breathing, and I didn't have any like issues like that, but I would like regular breathing, it was fine. But I did have something where I would breathe in deeply, and I swear I could feel my lungs. And I was like, oh my God, like I've never been able to, I don't think, so when you're fine, you're fine. You don't think about the things that could be compromised or anything like that. So I've never thought about, oh, when I'm breathing, can I feel my lungs? Can I feel like anything inside me? But that's literally what it was. I could feel my lungs. And the first day that I could like work out outside again, I just wanted to go running, because I was like, well, let's see what I could do. And I didn't want to really like stress myself or do too much, but I run, I do that. So I was like, okay, let me do this. And I ran, and I came back, and I was fine. Like, I literally didn't feel, since that day, like I haven't breathed in deeply and like I feel my lungs. But that was kind of a weird thing for me as well. So all in all, like my mild case of coronavirus, when I say mild, very, very mild. I am blessed to still be here and to be able to speak about it. I definitely encourage everyone to wear a mask, to socially distance, to wash your hands when you get in the house, wash your groceries. I have like a big old thing of wipes, and I just wipe down all my groceries before I even put them in to the freezer or the refrigerator. Do that. Make sure you are washing your hands for at least 30 seconds when you get into the house. Wash anything that, comes in contact with outside, basically. That's just me and what I think and what I do. Because you don't want to be in that compromising situation where you have to tell your friends, your family, where you have to tell people that love you that you have this virus, because you don't know what it's going to do to you. For me, again, blessed to say that it was very mild, and it didn't really go through me the way it's gone through some other people. I didn't have to go to the hospital. I didn't have to do anything like that. It was more so me being confined to my own space and my own thoughts, and thinking about, wow, I had my guard down. I got too comfortable. Out here in LA, a lot of things were open outside. So outdoor dining, the beaches, parks, all of those things. Things where you can go outside and socially distance and not really be next to people and whatnot. But it's just like, it's really not worth it to get this virus. We don't know what it's going to do, if it has adverse effects, down the line. So I just would say, stay in the house. That's it. Not gonna talk about anything else, because I almost brought up this whole vaccine thing. I have zero to say about it. Nothing. But that's just my story. That's what I wanted to tell and share with you guys. I am a-okay right now. Yeah. It's Arielle, and stay tuned for the next video.